That's it. बस 60 का डिफॉल्ट है ना फिल्टर ना फिल्टर विनाश कसं आहे मी कसं आहे
Very good morning to all of you, honorable dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my fellow colleagues, and dear students. I welcome you all on today's expert session on behalf of Government Polytechnic, Mumbai. Today's session is on unlocking learning by doing in the real world with Metaverse, AI, and robotics. I know that all of you are very much excited to know and listen Mr. OMKAR PIMPLE sir. So without wasting much time, I will request Kasturi sir to introduce our today's guest of honor, Mr. PIMPLE sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Bhavade. As Bam said, since we are waiting for an hour for this expert session, there is no introduction required for Mr. Pimple. He is a well-known international expert in the domain of AI. If we go down the line, actually, he is having multi vocational. He has offices in different countries, and his domain is basically in Metaverse, in artificial intelligence, and the data science also. So, Mr. OMKAR PIMPLE is basically a founder and CEO of Miracle.io. It is based in Germany, and the most of application is immersive mobile technologies across diverse verticals such as education, fintech, health, e-commerce. He is an internationally published academic researcher in e-learning spaces, and he has been regularly invited as a distinguished faculty speaker at international industry conferences and schools and universities across the globe. Under OMKAR leadership, the Miracle.io team unlocks learning by doing the real world Metaverse by transforming homes and classrooms into interactive exhibitions and STEM labs. STEM is basically in education. So this is one introduction. Apart from this formal introduction, we can see actually OMKAR is basically, since we know that he is based in Germany, and due to our request, actually all the way he came to Mumbai for your case, to meet you people. So I thanks OMKAR for joining this session, and hope actually we will be meeting a couple of times in future also. Thank you very much.
Now I request Kuzmi sir to felicitate our guest OMKAR sir. Already, we are running a little late. I apologize for that. Now, without wasting the time, I'll request the professor to start session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, is my mic on? Okay, great. Can everyone hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, first of all, like I had the chance to interact with the students shortly in the upstairs classroom, and it's just incredible the amount of energy that we have in this room today. 16, 17, 18-year-old students, with the fire in their hearts and wanting to learn something new, wanting to change the world. And I think, personally for me, I feed off of a lot of that energy from the young audience. And it's a pleasure to be here. I was born and brought up in Mumbai originally, so this is home for me, no matter whether I'm in Germany or wherever else tomorrow. But Mumbai will always be home. So as Mr. Kasturi sir invited me, I could not say no. There was no chance that I could say no. And I said, let's do it. Let's interact. Let's meet the students of the annual cohort, which also happens to be the first one, which is your trailblazers in this field as well. So, welcome and thank you for taking the time today to join all of us. Now, what I wanted to talk about today was a bit about what you will be studying in the next 3 years and you will be doing and using for the rest of your lives. Right? And that is technology in general and more specifically in AI. Now, with the students, we've already had a short introduction about what I've been doing in the AI space, but there are so many other players in the AI space as well who are just changing the world as well. So, yeah. Okay, so new mic. And new. Two new mics. All right. Anyway, so as I was saying, AI is something that is changing the world now. How many of you have heard of ChatGPT? Okay, so Oman will use K first of all. All right. How many of you have heard of generative AI? So generative AI is something completely new. This is completely, it's been worked on for a long time. But basically generative AI is exactly what you think it is. It's AI with the ability to generate things. So for example, generate discussions, dialogues, images, videos even, and maybe even 3D models, which can be 3D printed in the real world. So you see that now you don't need to do things by your hand. You don't do things manually. Let's say AI can do a lot of things automatically. Now it remains to be seen how accurate and how high quality these things will be. But just the fact that the ability of AI do these things is possible, is already fascinating, scary, and exciting at the same time. Right? So I think AI research has been moving at a faster pace than we can catch up. So basically, AI is evolving faster than our capability to grasp knowledge about AI. So it's a bit of an incredible time in the world right now, especially in technology. And the students who are 16, 17, 18 now are at the cusp. It's a turning point in our world. And having said that, I think Government Polytechnic Mumbai coming up with this sort of a program where learning by doing in the real world is, there's a lot of stress on it. And I think it's a very valuable approach towards learning. I finished my degree. I had to go out in the industry and relearn everything that I learned in my degree. So, having said that, from what I understand, you will be working at the intersection of AI, robotics, and some 3D printing, as I understand. So these are very real technologies that are connected to each other. And over the next 2-3 years, you can see how and what exactly can be possible with these kind of technologies. Now, I actually wanted to show you a few slides. So would it be possible to connect my laptop to the screen over there? Just get it up.
So should I focus on that? Proper.
Excellent. So I have a few slides so that we can understand these things a bit better. So my talk title today was on unlocking learning by doing in the real world with AI, robotics, and the Metaverse. How many of you have heard about the Metaverse? Okay, so there are quite a few people who have heard of the Metaverse. So maybe you'll learn a bit more about what the Metaverse is about today. Right? So yeah. Before we jump into the Metaverse, what I want to also quickly show you is our team. Right? So I'm the founder CEO of Medical Robotics. We have a team from Harvard, Stanford, Humboldt, the government of India, and we are a fully remotely located company. So, which means that, of course, we have offices in Germany and Mumbai, but all of our team members work from anywhere. So, I don't call it work from home, I call it work from anywhere. Right? So, for example, I was in Portugal a few months ago in September for a conference. I was working from the beach over there. Some of my team members were in Himachal. They were working from the mountains. Right? So they were able to club work next to holiday. So if you go to Himachal Pradesh for 3 weeks, 1 week you work from there, 2 weeks you taking your trains and hikes and do treks and all of these things. So as long as you have a computer and as long as you have internet, you can work from anywhere if you work with digital. So that's what we've built. We've built this over the last 2 years. We've embraced the world of technology into the basis of how we exist as a company. And that's what has made it possible for us to build this international team of people across the US, Germany, and India. So 3 continents, 3 time zones. It can be difficult at times, of course, but I think the benefits outweigh the inconveniences. So now, I'd like to jump a bit into what the Metaverse is about. So some of you know about what the Metaverse is. So maybe, once again, who knows about the Metaverse? Who has heard about it?
I have an idea.
Omar is very far ahead, it seems. Go ahead.
Metaverse is a project developed by Meta, formerly known as Facebook. So basically, it connects people around the world with the use of technologies like VR headset. So that's the general idea. Connecting people basically from remote places around the world.
Okay.
You can, there are different things you can do also in the Metaverse. I'm not very sure, but I know that you can play games or do art. That's a general idea of what I think Metaverse is in general, but there may be more factors to it. So that's my general idea about the metaverse is.
Okay, cool. I think you've covered quite a lot of things over there. So I think we'll be covering each and every point that you mentioned as well in more detail. But before we go into who built it and what we can do in it, let's understand what it is, right? So the metaverse is about the internet. The internet started somewhere in the 70s, 80s. Initially, it was a sort of closed project, became an open project where everyone was able to use it and leverage it, right? So the internet is, today it's a bunch of pages, web pages that you can go through, navigate, and maybe interact with some of them and do things on, right? Now in the metaverse, can you go back one slide? In the metaverse, essentially it's a bunch of so here's the definition, right? So it's the next generation of the internet that is mostly 3D, mostly interactive, and therefore mostly immersive. Immersive, does everyone understand the word immersive? Immersive, which it means that it takes you in it, basically, right? So there's no separation between you, your senses, and the metaverse, basically. So mostly 3D, what does that mean, right? So web pages, for example, 2D, right? So they are 2D, which means that you might have 3D videos and all these things, but inherently they're not in 3D space, web pages, right? So the metaverse has interactions that are in 3D space. The metaverse has, the keyword is interaction, so which means that you can interact with all of these 3D objects, all of these 3D interfaces essentially. And you can do things which you mentioned about. So you can do things, you can learn, you can play games, there are many things. There are, like, boundaries are blurred between the physical reality that we live in and the digital space that we have become so accustomed and have become so fond of, right? So of course it has many implications, but we'll go a bit into that. Now, who is the owner of the metaverse? It's an important question, right? If this is something so crazy and so game-changing, who owns it? So the metaverse, like I said, it's a bit like the internet. Who owns the internet?
People.
Everyone, right? So everyone owns the internet. All of us collectively build, interact with, own the internet. So it's the same with the metaverse, right? So even though Meta have Meta in their name, Facebook formerly, they don't own the metaverse. They are one of the leaders over there, but they don't own it, right? So the metaverse is collectively built, consumed, and owned by all of us, just like the rest of the internet. So it's a very important distinction to know over there. That Meta is one of the movers in the metaverse space, but they're not the owners of the metaverse. In fact, the definition of the metaverse is itself very, very, very broad today. Like, you don't know how it can be defined because it's so early stage right now. Now, that's where the Metaverse Standards Forum comes into picture. So, of course, something new that is being built, it needs to have some standards about how to, work between these different metaverses. So it's a bit like USB ports, right? Before, you had different kinds of connectors for different kind of devices, right? And there was no uniformity. I guess the young students probably don't remember this, but I think only 5, 7, 10 years ago, you had different connectors, and there was no uniformity, there were no standards. And therefore, interoperability became very difficult. Right? Even today, you can't use an iPhone charger for an Android device, or the other way around. Right? So these things are changing as we move forward. But for example, also electricity plugs are different in India than they are in the US, than they are in Germany. So there's a need for standardization as the world becomes more and more globalized. And that's what the Metaverse Standards Forum kind of also does, because there are many metaverses being built as we speak. Right? So Facebook is building one of them, Microsoft, Nvidia, Molecular, we are all building a lot of content and a lot of learning experiences and experiences in general in the metaverse. In fact, it's not even sure if there is one metaverse. Maybe you have multiple metaverses. So there are many things that are still being defined. The Metaverse Standards Forum sort of is a consortium of all of these companies that is coming together and is building out a set of standards, a framework for all of us to have interoperable metaverses. So I should be able to have experiences in my metaverse, being able to work properly and fine in, I don't know, Roblox metaverse or Minecraft. Okay, cool. So, and that's what we do at the Metaverse Standards Forum, and we are a principal member of the Metaverse Standards Forum. Now we've learned what it is, who owns it, or rather the fact that nobody owns it. Now, how is it built? How do you build something in the Metaverse? What technologies do you use? What tools do you use? And this is where AI comes into the picture, right? So many of you have joined here because you see AI as the future, because you're excited by the possibilities of what AI brings. And all of this is true. And one of the possibilities that AI brings is this, the metaverse, being able to blend the real world and the digital world together, being able to create entire worlds purely virtually, or blending the physical world with the real world. Maybe if you're able to manage it, you can maybe also have a live demo of this. Of how this works. But one of the key technologies over here is AI. Right. So as you can see, we use technology called extended reality, XR. So how many of you have heard of AR, VR? Augmented reality, virtual reality? Okay. I think you heard of everything. Okay. So augmented reality, the word augment means to add. Right? So to add this. Virtual means non-physical. Right? So digital, let's call it simple. So augmented reality is exactly what you think it means. It means that you're able to add things to your physical reality. And virtual reality is also exactly what you think it means. You're able to create reality as a fully digital version of it. And mixed reality, extended reality, these sort of different variations of these things. But extended reality is like the umbrella, like, you know, AR, VR, MR are all subsets of XR. So XR is the key sort of technology that is used to build the metaverse. Among many other things, there's blockchain and several other things, but XR is the key sort of thing that is used here. And how does XR work? Like, how are you able to add things in your physical reality? Like how are these things possible? So that's where AI comes into the picture. Now, there's a lot of branches of AI. One of them is computer vision. So computer vision is basically visual AI, very simply put, right? So an algorithm that is able to understand pictures, images, videos, and is able to make sense of it. That's what computer vision is, very simple. There are many fields within computer vision as well, but let's not go into the details right now. But computer vision AI is one of the most crucial things that is used. So it's one of the crucial things that is used. And so, for example, if a computer is able to understand with its camera that this is a table, or this is the floor, or this is a wall, right? Or this is a laptop, or that's a projector, or that's a selfie ring, whatever you call it, or I'm OMKAR, this is Kasturi, and your face recognition is also computer vision, basically. So computer vision is used as one of the primary sort of AI tools or mechanisms to build the metaverse by using XR. Now, I've been talking a lot, and seeing is believing. So why don't we see an example of how XR works, right? And how many of you play games of any sort? Okay, any sort of game, right? So casual, hardcore doesn't matter. So PC gaming, mobile gaming, console gaming, all of that is common. So almost half of you will raise your hand. So many of you are aware or have experienced virtual reality in many different ways. So gaming is a good example of virtual reality. In many games, you have environments that are created fully virtually, and you are a character or whatever moving around in that reality. So it's a very simple example of, almost common example of VR. I wanted to give you one new example of VR, and that's about VR meditation. Right? So there are people who meditate in a VR environment, and there are many different ways to also experience VR. Computers, mobile devices are of course there, but you also have VR headsets. Right? So VR headsets are fully immersive, that they shut you off from physical reality. Remains to be seen how many people will adopt it and how less expensive it will be, and whether people would want something of that sort. That's a different story. But today the technology is there. Right? Let's have a quick look. So I have an example of this. Yeah, this video is on the internet, unfortunately. So I will connect to the network. This is a very good example of how virtual reality can be used for a variety of purposes. Okay? So meditation is one of them, as you will see. Gaming is another. Education is a third. Okay? So there are many things that you are able to do in the physical world, but you may not be able to do it for all of the students. Right? You may not be able to do it for every student. You may not be able to do it at all times. There are many things that become possible. Now, let's have an example of how VR works for meditation. So, full screen. So you can see here, this world is fully virtually created. So you see that the sand, the sea, the trees, the sky, everything is in the virtual world. And as you move your head around, you can see the whole world around you. So this is through a VR headset.
Free distractions. Help you focus on your mind and body.
So that's a quick example. Of how VR is used for the use case like meditation. Right? So, to be honest, I'm personally a bit skeptical about this approach because I feel meditation, a large part of meditation is being away from screens, for me personally, right? So this kind of breaks that. But let's see. In the end, it's about people's adoption and actual outcomes coming out of it. So for me, I'm more at peace when I'm away from screens. So I don't want to go to the screen to be at peace. Okay, so another example of another branch of XR is mixed reality, right? So mixing two realities or blending two realities is something that becomes possible with this. Right? So how does this work? And that's what we actually do at Metaverse. We blend the real world and the virtual world together. And what we do is we help students learn by doing in the real world. So we are able to transform any physical space. It could be your homes, it could be anywhere outdoors. And we are able to transform any physical space into an interactive exhibition or a science lab of any sort. So robotics labs are included, school labs, biology, physics, chemistry, electronics. So we have quite a lot of use cases that we build. And that's what we do. So I'll quickly show you an example of what this looks like. So this is an example of students learning how the structure of atom is constructed. So they are constructing an atom themselves in the classroom. So this is Vidyanidhi High School in Mumbai. This is where I studied. I spent 12 years of my life in the school. And and what these students saw through their mobile devices and what the other students were also able to see and support the student while she was constructing an atom itself was something very powerful. And imagine like studying like this, like being able to transform the reality around you into a lab. Right? That's what becomes possible with mixed reality. Maybe towards the end I'll show you live demo as well about how this works. Maybe I can show it to you now, let's see. I don't want to spend too much more time figuring out the technology itself and the Wi-Fi and everything. So let's move again forward. I'll show a live demo later. Okay. So that's what we do. We transform classrooms into interactive exhibitions. And we transform homes into science and STEM labs. Right? And one of the use cases over there that we have is that of robotics. Right? So that's the third piece of today's talk. How can Metaverse, AI, and robotics come together? Right? So this is a classic example of drones. So here it is. Right? So imagine was constructing the atom in the classroom in the physical world. Similarly, if you're able to basically assemble a drone in the real world. So imagine I'm able to transform this table and I'm able to place drone parts over here and I put them together. That's what is becoming possible with mixed reality engineering. So this is a good example because we have drones a lot. I think I've seen them so many of these ideas and thoughts in this campus already. And basically you can see that the first part is you understanding different parts of the drone, right? You can keep it straight, no worries. The first part is you understanding different parts of the drone, and you can see that over here you have the exploded view, so you understand what the different parts are, right? And you see it from different sides, you see it from different angles, and that's one thing. Imagine that drone sort of showing up over here, and you see it from different sides. You may walk on the other side, you turn the drone around, and so on. But the fun begins when you start putting the drone together yourself. Because learning by doing is the most powerful form of learning, right? And that's when you are able to understand. And this is a good example of that. So you see that you have all the parts now ready for you. And now you're instructed on how to put them together. Right? And imagine doing this and learning this before you actually go and assemble a drone yourself. Because drones are expensive. Drones may not be available easily for all of us students. Right? But with this kind of technology, we are able to make it available for all of our students and help you build confidence on how to put this together. And by the time you actually get your hand on a real drone, you're very confident. You know how this works. You know how to put it together. You know what steps to follow and so on. So you see, this is a complete assembly of individual parts of a drone. So it can be as simple or as detailed as we want. So education as a use case in the Metaverse is a very, very powerful one. And robotics, as you can see, is a very important aspect, and it's a very powerful use case. Because robotics involves a lot of expensive hardware, possibly expensive hardware. It involves a lot of actual moving parts, and making it accessible for everyone is very, very important. And that's what the metaverse with AI is able to do for us. And you can see that you can model this as an instruction manual, or you can model this as an assessment. Imagine doing this as an assignment, saying, okay, this is the test, now figure it out, right? Put it together, we'll understand if you are able to put it together. So you can do that without damaging drones if you put it wrong, right? Because you can do it as many times as you want, you can be given as many chances as you want. So all of these things suddenly become possible by blending the two realities. So you can see that you have the real world ground, like the ground that we have outside, and over there, through your mobile device, you are able to sort of view how the drone can be put together. And finally, after you put it together, the drone takes off in the real world around you, in the real sky, is above. So that's a very quick example of how Metaverse AI applied for robotics can be used for education in the Metaverse and helping people learn by doing. Okay. And why is this important? Right? Why is this valuable? It's valuable because so far, I think all of you have studied in schools of some sort, right? Schools, generally the education system overall focuses a lot on memorization. And memorization doesn't work. Right? There is enough research about this. I don't need to talk about this. And I don't think anybody here enjoys memorization. Right? But true education is about not memorization, but about making things memorable. There's a fine difference, right? You want to remember things for the rest of your life, but what if you will remember it without memorizing? How can you do that? By doing it yourself in the real world. And that's how you say goodbye to memorization and say hello to memory with this sort of approach. So we've seen this work well in the real world, and I wanted to also quickly walk you through a few things. So this is, maybe we can talk about this later. But this is a quick example of some effects that we saw with this approach in the real world. So from Vidyanti High School, we had a bunch of 100 students, and before the classroom lecture that we did with the mixed reality technology that we used, students were like, we don't understand this topic very well. Our understanding is around a level of 5 out of 10. But after using this technology, all of them were like, okay, I understand it now. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 is our level of understanding now. And that's what becomes possible with this kind of technology. So this is something that we were able to also do. And I wanted to basically put it out there, put it in front of all of you all, because you've just left school, you're now entering a new phase of life. Here we have educators who have seen education evolve over time as well. And at this intersection of AI, robotics, metaverse, and education, these are things that become possible with this kind of technology. Now, I wanted to give you a live demo of this kind of technology. So I'm going to use my iPhone, so I'm going to try to cast my screen over there so you can see. So this is a live demonstration of this is what we do, right? And I wanted to show you one of the examples of how we are able to transform any physical space into a science lab. Now, let's see about one of the experiments. It's about how to prepare microscope mounts, right? So mounts are the slides under a microscope. Basically, microscopes are expensive pieces of equipment, right? Many schools may not have many microscopes. Typically, they just have one microscope for hundreds of students. So how can you let all students practice how to use the microscope and how to use things on the microscope? And that's something that we are able to help people do and understand. So I think network is a bit of a challenge here. So asking my student seems to not work. Here we are again. So let's understand how microscope slides are prepared, and that's something that we will now do. So what we are able to do is we are able to transform.
Keep an eye on your surroundings. This is an immersive experience.
So you can see that
Avoid risky areas like stairs, balconies, edges of the terrace, roads, and uneven surfaces. Keep your deployable as shown on the screen.
yeah. So basically we are able to help
Scan your
you
environment
understand
to start the activity.
how to use this, and you see that the application lets you understand the environment around you and
Let's
start the
do this
activity.
experiment and identify. First, you will learn how to prepare a dry mount. Please tap on the tweezer to pick it up.
So you see an entire lab has been set up in front of you through your mobile device, right? So no special hardware, no headsets. And now you can interact with this lab as if you're putting together a real dry mount. So
Tap on the flower to pick up a flower petal with the tweezer.
So I'm able to move around with these tweezers, as you can see. Right? So now I can use these tweezers to now pick up the flower petal, and the phone screen is my interface. So now I'm able to pick up the flower petal.
Now that you have picked up the specimen, place it on the glass slide.
Now I place it on the glass slide. So you can see that you're being instructed all along the way for each and every single step. You will know what to do and how to do it.
Tap anywhere on the table to drop the tweezers.
Now, I will proceed. I need to drop the tweezers so I can proceed. Now, I can drop the tweezers on this table, or I can drop the tweezers on this table here. So I can do either of these things. So that's the beauty of this kind of technology, right? So you
Tap
see
on the cover slip to pick it up.
that I have the tweezers dropped on this table. So I've broken the reality barrier away. And I can come back to the rest of the activity. So let's continue the rest of the activity. So I pick up the cover
Now
slip
simply tap on the dry slide to place it over the specimen.
and place it over the specimen.
Congratulations! You now know how to make a dry mount.
Okay,
Move it. Let's begin.
So this is the
by
red
tapping on
mount.
the cover to pick it up.
this is the second piece. It's more complicated, it has more materials, it has more steps. So let's do it, right? So I pick up the,
Tap on the beaker to fill the dropper with water.
so the first step is picking up the water,
Tap on the wet slide to place a drop of water on the slide.
placing it on the wet slide,
Tap anywhere on the table to drop the water dropper.
so dropping.
Tap on the tweezer to pick it up.
Now our tweezer is behind us. So I go back here and you see that it's asking me to pick it up.
Tap on the onion to pick up the onion peel with the tweezers.
Now I have it, I pick up the onion peel.
Tap on the wet slide to place tap anywhere on the table to drop the tweezers.
Yeah, so you can see that
Tap
things
the
can
bottom
get
to pick up
lost.
some drops of methyl blue.
Right, so pick up.
Now, tap on the wet, tap anywhere on the table to drop, tap on the cover slip to pick, now simply tap
And that
congratulations.
completes. the
You now know
wet
how to
mount.
make a wet mount. Dry mounts are easy, but the basic difference, however, it is more congratulations, you did it. Now you know the difference between dry and wet mount slides.
Okay, so this is a quick example of how mixed reality can transform and is transforming education. I'd like to show you one more example. So this was an example of a procedure that we practiced and that we were able to understand. I wanted to show you an example of a complex concept that can be also explained very well using this kind of technology. Okay, now, sound is one of those concepts, right? sound is all around us. As you can see, it can be very complicated sometimes. And at the same time, it's invisible. You can't see it. But what if you could? What if you could understand how sound travels in air, how sound travels in water, and how sound travels when there is no medium, vacuum? And that's exactly what this experiment or this activity is about. How does sound travel? Right? Now, let's have a look. Okay.
Keep an eye on your surroundings.
So once
This
again,
is an immersive experience. Keep your device at eye level as shown on the screen.
let's see if we're able to make it.
Scan your environment to start the activity.
I think we should be able to. Okay, maybe we're able to make it.
Click on the button to place the object.
Here as well. Maybe let's do it here.
In this experiment, you will explore the nature of sound waves and how they travel through the medium air.
So you see these are air particles around us, the white spheres, right? And we have a speaker in front of us. The speaker will be used as a part of the experiment.
These constantly moving particles in the air are gas molecules. Push the button to switch on the speaker.
So let's start the speaker, right?
Sound needs a medium to travel. Here, air is the medium. The sound waves travel using the disturbance in the air particles.
So you see that these are air particles that vibrate, and that's what causes sound to propagate.
Compression is a region of high pressure where air particles are the closest together.
So you see compressions and rarefactions are the alternating ones.
Whereas rarefaction is a region of low pressure where air particles are far from each other. Compression and rarefaction create alternating disturbance in the air particles.
Right. Now, this is how it travels in air. Now, what would happen if we change the medium to water? Right? And how do we do it? We don't have water here. We can't submerge the speaker under water. Or can we? Let's do it.
What happens if we change the medium from air to water? Try using water as a medium.
So now, I'm able to flood this auditorium underwater using our technology. So here you go. Whoa. Okay.
No more sound. Let's try going underwater.
So now there's no more sound because the speaker is submerged underwater, and you have air as the medium above and water as the medium below. And now the only way to hear the sound again is to go underwater physically. So let's take a dip.
Now the water is the medium for sound to travel. Since water is denser than air, it is more tightly packed. This makes sound travel more than 4 times faster in water than in air.
So you see that if I go outside the water, I'm able to
What would
also.
happen when there is no medium?
What happens with this vacuum now, right? So I take
Water is
away.
moving away, and air pressure is dropping too.
I take away the water. I take away
You can
the
no longer hear
air
any
particles.
sound because sound needs a medium like a solid, liquid, or gas to travel. Right now, there is no medium for it to propagate.
Yeah, you see that all the gas particles have been taken out, all the water has been taken out, and now there is no medium for the sound to travel, and therefore you can't hear the sound and you can't see the wave. So that's a quick example
Congratulations, you did it. You know.
of how a complex concept can also be explained using mixed reality technology. No special hardware, just your everyday mobile device, and as you can see, I've drawn 100 times because I've demonstrated this 100 times. Yeah, so that's what we do at Mumbai. That's how we are able to sort of put all of these things together to make education memorable without needing to memorize. And that's the power of AI, my friends. That's the power of what you can do after 3 years, or maybe even in the first year itself. The transformation that you can bring in how humans learn, right? How we learn as a species. That's something that you can change. With us, by yourself, collaboratively, that's a different story. But yeah, those are the possibilities. The possibilities are endless. That's one of the reasons why the logo that we have is an infinity sign. Because we have infinite possibilities. So that's it from my side for today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and I hope you liked it. And yeah, would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas that come to your mind, let's hear them. You can raise your hands and ask your questions. There are no silly questions, right? So feel free. I see your hand going up slightly. Yes.
What is the name of your company?
Miracle.io. The name of my company, name of our company is Miracle.io. Miracle being magic, right? So you saw that it's a bit like magic. So that's what we do. And it also stands for mixed reality active learning experiences, right? So we use mixed reality and we help students learn actively by helping them manipulate the environment around them. And it's not learning content, it's learning experiences.
Yes.
So that's where the name comes from. And we chose the why because why not? Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Can things be hacked in Metaverse?
Hacked? Everything can be hacked, right? So there is nothing that is 100% secure. Your lock, physical lock can be broken, emails can be hacked, posts can be intercepted, phone calls can be intercepted. So technically, theoretically, yes, there is a possibility that you can break into things.
How can we prevent?
There are many ways. So that's an entire new sector, right? Cybersecurity has been a domain for a long time. And I've worked in fintech, right, before. So fintech is one of the most sensitive sort of domains and areas. So basically, any kind of cyber forensics, cyber security, all of these things are also very much applicable in the metaverse. Especially the fact that we are using or understanding environment, this data needs to be very secure. So you use state-of-the-art encryption algorithms and all of these things for it. So yeah, but still, there is a theoretical possibility of there being security also being compromised. But that's the case with everything. And as responsible future builders, it's up to us to keep it in mind as well. Like have a strong security posture while building these kind of things from the ground up. Any other questions?
Sir, as a gamer, I like to play games and things with my friends. So is it multiplayer, like we can interact with our friends and like, is it?
It can be, yes. So imagine, let's take a scenario, right? So we know in India, doctors go through a very sort of grueling procedure of 5, 7, 10 years to study to become doctors. Yet the case studies that doctors study from are PDFs, basically. Maybe books, maybe printed papers, maybe PDFs, right? Now, what good is a case study if I can't live the case study, right? Like imagine, it's a complex case on the operating table, right? I need 3, 4, 5 specialists at a time to solve this case. If there's a complex heart surgery, I might need a cardiologist, I might need an anesthesiologist, I might need a nurse, I might need, I don't know, not a doctor, but I might need at least 4 or 5 specialists. So it's a multi-player cooperative mission in the end, if you think about it. Now, imagine if with this technology, we are able to place a case study in front of you on a table here. I'm in Germany, you're in Mumbai, someone else might be in the US, third person might be in Australia, right? And these 4 people are playing the role of cardiologist, nurse, nephrologist, anesthesiologist, and so on, in their own physical worlds, on their own tables, on the floor, whatever, but sharing a learning experience together and collaboratively building and solving it together. So what you ask about multiplayer becomes possible even in the blend of 2 realities. So this is a bit further ahead, but the technology is there. We have it as well, and we also use a lot of geospatial work as well, like geographic location, all of these things. So many things can be done. There's a lot of things to be done here. As a gamer, I'm also a gamer. I still play. And I build games, of course, but I also play them a lot. Okay, any other questions?
So,
Yes.
is technology limited or not?
Unlimited. Technology, I would say, I think what you can do with technology is unlimited, right? And technology evolves, right? So, I think technology has been evolving since we discovered how to light a fire, right? And then came the wheel, then came the printing press, and all of these things along with it, right? It has evolved a lot, and it will constantly keep on evolving. I think the best thing that students today can have is not knowledge about technology, not skills. All of these things will come, but the most important thing that you need is adaptability, because things are changing faster than ever before. It has accelerated. By the time I've said something, it is already outdated. That's the pace at which things are changing today. So adaptability is what I would focus on, right? And don't worry about the fact that there are unlimited possibilities. Yes, there are. There will always be. But if you're able to adapt, you'll be fine. Yes.
Sir, as you said, you started your own company. So how hard it was for you, and what are the challenges you faced, and like how did you affect the marketing journey?
Oof, it's a tough question. So you started with how long did it take? Oh, no, sorry.
How hard was it for you, and what are the challenges you faced?
How hard was it? I think it's extremely hard to start a company yourself. It is, I'm not going to lie, right? I don't want to discourage people. If you want to get rich quickly, don't start a company. Don't, because it's a terrible way to do it. Like, there are very less chances, first of all, to get rich that way. And B, yeah, it will take a lot out of you, like energy, time, and everything else. If you want to make a change in the world, and you're willing to put in 5-10 years into it, then go and start now. Otherwise, don't start. Paisa kamana, there are many ways to do it. But this is the hardest way. There are finite chances of you making a fortune, of course. But I think there are smarter ways to earn money. So earning money is, of course, money is fuel, right? Money is fuel to do good things, is how I see it. And in the end, a company has to make money to be able to do good things. But for us, it's not a goal to earn money. It's a side effect of doing good things, is how I see it. So it's hard. It can be. There are times when you'll be like, "Why am I doing this? Kya? Kuch nahi." You know, like it's a bit. Where is this going? Well, I don't know. So you'll have a lot of questions. You'll have a lot of self-doubt. You have to be okay with being wrong many times. In fact, most of the time, that's it. Like what we started doing, which the customer knows. Okay? What we started doing and what we ended up doing now are two very different things. It's a discovery process along the way. It's a quest. And it's a bit of a never-ending quest. Meet all kinds of people, great people, nice people sometimes, not so good people also. And you have to, like I said, adaptability is key. If you have adaptability, then you have a chance, basically. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. There is no clear answer to this question, unfortunately. Maybe one thing that I wanted to show you is how you deal with it, like how you can deal with it. I mean, let's see if I have. So, this is how I deal with things that I'm working on. I don't know if you see it, but basically, you know post-its, right? Like post-its like that. So I like to lose on it. No matter how small or big it is, it goes on this. Right? And before, what I used to do was after I finished the task, I would crush it and throw it in the bin. Right? Then what I started doing was I started crushing it and I started keeping it on my desk in a bowl. So all of my crushed post-its were in that bowl. A friend of mine said, "Why don't you fold the post-its and link them together and make a chain out of it?" And that's what I started doing. And this is what it looks like. Right? Basically, it's a decision tree, if you think about it. It's a chain of decisions, good or bad, right or wrong, we don't know yet. but it all adds up, right? And now I have, this is what it looks like now. So I took this is my Berlin office, and I took basically what you call photogrammetry basically, and I made a digital twin of a real world object that is in 3D. So you see that this is the postage chain that I have in Germany. So you see that all your decisions will add up no matter what you do. Sometimes you might think, it's going anywhere, But you do that and you realize that it all adds up, no matter how small or stupid or boring that task might be. It all amounts to something, right? You might not know that something will be tomorrow, and that was game changing. Like it changed how I looked at these things, and it's good for your head also, because entrepreneurship can be very draining. It can be very tiring. It can take a lot of time. It can kill your self-confidence many times also. But these kind of things, they keep your head sane also. So yeah, if you can continue doing it, it's the best, because it's a game of who can keep that, who can keep it together for the longest. Basically. Yes.
The technology and the study which you showed us now, was it solely made by your company?
I wouldn't say solely made by our company. There are many, like Newton said, right? Newton said the work that I've done is done on the shoulders of giants. Like Newton's gravitation did not come all by himself. Kepler was there before, Copernicus was there before, Galileo was there at the same time. So similarly, like the technology that we have built has been built on MacBooks and Windows and the internet and everything. Android, iOS, all of these things. So have we built these things? We haven't. So, and it's important to know that it's not important to build things from scratch. It's not valuable. It's not useful. Let's not reinvent the wheel, because it has been done 100 times by people who have spent 100 times more time than you can ever spend time on. So why don't you take things as ingredients, put them together, and make something new? Combination of existing things is already very powerful. Like we've built our own extended reality pieces, because I've been working on this for 10 years, more or less, not full time as a hobby, in research and so on. But we realized that there are companies that have done this full time and have done it better. So we took some parts of them, what was available, of course, and we were able to build things much faster, much better. And of course, there's a lot of things that we have put together ourselves, because it did not exist so far. And that is the kind of challenge that you face in a blue ocean market. Is how I like to call it. Blue ocean, it's free. Like, there is nobody there yet, or not very few people at all. So it's a classic build versus buy, or build versus adopt sort of a decision that you have to make hundreds of them every day. So generally, I'd like to say, don't reinvent the wheel. There are enough people who have done it before. Keep your eyes open. Try to find sources of knowledge, or ways where you can understand and learn about all of these new changes and updates in the world on a regular basis. And then let it feed you. And then you will see, you'll be surprised how many things you're able to connect. Just because you're updated with what's happening in the world. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So I just want to know that what path you travel to reach where you are right now. So from where you have started with software, then hardware, then how you reach there?
Okay. I didn't start with a specific software. I started as a generalist, like a software engineer. Right? So I started by building Android apps back in 2012-13. That's when I really got seriously into software engineering. Android apps I started building, and then I started working as an Android engineer. But over there, I also built back-end systems, I built AI systems. So I've been a generalist in that sense. But my specialization or focus was on mobile apps and AI, both of these areas. which is again a very rare combination because both AI and mobile really came to be only 10, 12 years ago, like very vast. So there are very few people who have 10, 15 years of mobile and AI experience combined. You will find maybe some people with 10 years mobile, you will find maybe some people with 10 years AI. Very few people with mobile AI combined of 10 plus years. So I was, at the grace of the universe, I happened to be in a position where I chose these two things. And yeah, here we are, like the possibilities, we don't know what might come out of it. So, because 10, 15 years ago, people were like, AI is a fad. It's a specialization, there are no jobs for it. Look today, like it's crazy. So you guys all of you are in the right place, trust me. And with Mr. Kasture's vision and guidance, I think the hands-on learning part that I really appreciate about your approach, Mr. Kasture, is something that is needed. Trust me, when I hire in my company, I don't look at the degree, I don't look at the marks. I don't remember which of my team members have degrees from what. I don't care. And more companies are going in that direction. But the question is not what you have, what piece of paper you have, but rather what you've done. Right? And if you've done good things, if you've worked on projects, if you've built something that you can show to the world, then nobody can stop you. In fact, I would rather take you when you're 19 if you've worked on projects than someone who has a degree from an IIT or whatever who has no projects. So many companies are going in that direction. So just the right time, on just the right kind of hands-on sort of an approach. Because that's what we do. We also get learning by doing in the real world. That's exactly what I see happening here as well. I really look forward to the next 1-2 years and see how we can find a way to build things together. Good. Any other questions? Last question? Yes?
What are the scope and job opportunities in this field?
In which field? We talked about 3.
AI.
AI? Okay, so it's very vast. There are many different kind of opportunities. I'll give you an example that you may not think of. Right? So the most classic examples are data scientists, business analysts, AI, and all of these things, right? Or machine learning, computer vision, face recognition, all of these sort of domains. That's all fine. What surprised me the other day was how AI is used in domains like, so for example, everyone knows about Elon Musk, for better or worse, right? So SpaceX and Tesla, generally speaking, have taken an AI-first approach to building things. What does an AI-first approach mean? It not only means using AI in the cars and everything, but also using AI in the production. So right now, especially if you want to build and manufacture cars, for example, so you need manual intervention to see if things are fine. Quality control is often manual. So why Tesla became such high quality car makers is because they used AI not as a replacement for people or humans, but rather as an augmentation. Right? So it's still human-centric AI that a human is unable to scan and understand things fast enough. Right? But if AI can tell the human that hey, यहाँ पे कुछ crap है, यहाँ पे कुछ गड़बड़ है, the human can go there and deal with it. The decision is still made by the human in the end. But the evidence gathering, which is the hard part, the tedious part, can be done by AI systems. So the scope is vast. Wherever the scientific approach is used, which is literally every part of the world, that's where AI is applicable, is already being used and will be used, if not being used already. Right, from accounting. So today, like, my company in Germany and in Europe, accounting, like I don't know if you guys know about accounting yet, but basically when you have a company, you have to do bookkeeping, balance sheets, some of these things, right? Money in, money out, match invoices, then a lot of work I'm enjoying. But there are tools that are able to basically do it for you, right? So all you have to do is give them your receipts, invoices, and automatically you know कि भाई ये vendor से ये amount का ये date पे ये bank transaction हुआ, and this is the receipt for this transaction, and it's done. And then it's automatically able to calculate money in kitna tha, money out kitna tha, balance kitna hai. So again, you know, there are many professions that may feel threatened about this, but the way I think about it is, in the end, for complicated scenarios, you will need a bookkeeper, a CA, or whatever anyway. But for the, you know, for the dry mechanical work, you can employ technology and make your life easier. So you can serve more clients and in less time in the end, right, as a CA office. So that's how I see it. Like, it's human-centric. It has to be. It cannot replace people. It shouldn't. Like, because humans are very special in that sense, and humans can become even more powerful if they're able to use these kind of tools. So, scope to bahut hai. Don't worry about that. Choice is real. The more choice you have, the more difficult decision becomes.
So, if we started to apply AI in literally every field, then don't you think that there will be employment crisis here?
I think new jobs will be created. New jobs are great. Today we have Nike shoe brand, right? They are tripling down on the metaverse. They have a chief metaverse officer, CMO. Right? This person's job is to basically build a strategy for the metaverse. What things should be in the metaverse, what things should not be, and so on and so forth. So new jobs will be created. And like I said, like, I did not do a master's in business. The last 2 years was an executive MBA. But what you studied and what you did for the past 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years should not define what you do in the next 50. So don't, like, it's a fake sort of a, I think it's not a useful belief to think that if I pick this, if I do this, I'll do this for the rest of my life. You know, your life is too long. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, not even the next 1 year. So why are you making that decision for your life? Don't worry about it. So yes, today AI is there, tomorrow maybe something else will be there, but trust your own adaptability and you'll be fine.
Disadvantages of AI. Disadvantages of AI.
Disadvantages. I think people's survival instinct can die, right? Because people, it's like, you know, I don't know how many people drive cars but stick shift, manual shift. Less and less cars have manual shift now. But somehow, if tomorrow you end up in a manual shift car and you used to be driving automatic, you can't even start the car. Right? So, for our survival instinct, I think the humans can be affected negatively. Disadvantages. I think we spoke briefly about this bias, right? AI bias. So it's not a disadvantage per se, it's just how society is structured. Right? There is bias. AI just surfaces that bias from society. The way data is labeled is because of our own personal individual biases as well. So I think AI is a mirror in that sense of society and how society is structured. Yes, you know, in the US, for example, you know, people of color, like dark-skinned people, can often be tagged automatically as criminals. But that's also because the labeling that is done by humans also, it reflects the labeling. It's not the AI's fault, it's the human fault actually. It's a human bias that is surfaced at a large scale with that large amount of data, basically. So all of these things we have to think about and take care of. There is AI ethics also. Because you're dealing with so much data, how can you use it effectively but still ethically? So we have a course on AI ethics, data literacy that we're doing in Germany for a few people. Maybe we can also think of having a short session on that. I can speak to Isabel, so she's running the course. Yeah, so these are things that are there that we need to think about. I think that there is no disadvantage per se, there are limitations. Think about that. But those limitations can often be created due to humans, but also be supported by humans. By being, the AI is not like a magic pill, it's not going to solve all your life problems, right? But being aware of its limitations and its shortcomings will help us make better decisions as well. Okay, if you have any more questions, maybe we can take it offline. I think we've had quite a lot of questions. You can reach me on, of course, on our website, on LinkedIn. If you want to download the Miracle app, you can scan this barcode. You can try it out yourselves. We have an update in this week lined up, so we'll have a few more things. But yeah, feel free. It's at no cost at all at this point anyway. So try it out, and yeah, let us know what you think about this. You can also download it from the app, from the website if you want. Miracle.io is our website, and you have a try now button. You click, it take you straight to the app store. Cool. Thank you for being a patient and attentive audience. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, looking forward to interact with some of you, all of you, soon again.
Thank you very much, Mr. OMKAR, and this is a wonderful session, I believe. And actually, I'm here to thank OMKAR because he accepted our invitation all the way. He came from Germany. He said, actually, anyway, I'll be coming to this thing, Mumbai, for a personal reason. But he said, for you, actually, I will make a time and surely I will come. So we just wanted some more commitment from your side. Actually, this is just start, but we'll continue this kind of association in the future also, because education by doing practices in a lab that is okay, but immersion AI, XR kind of technology actually that will enhance the teaching learning scene. So since you are working in an XR application, I think our labs can be transformed into XR. So we'll see how development can work for our laboratories, including the electronic laboratory, including mechanical laboratory, everywhere it is coming into the picture and XR. So thank you very much for that. Now, I wanted to say something about these people also. In government Polytechnic, Mumbai, we have a innovation cell. Since it was binding from the EICT, Government of India, so we set up the innovation cell. And in the team, actually, we are having a team for the innovation also. We did all the branches, multidisciplinary kind of things actually we will be developing. What innovation need to happen, we'll be taking all the students from different branches and we'll be putting together. And suppose, for example, a student from the AI, a student from the mechanical, IT, or computer, they are coming together and they are taking care of their particular domain, and they will be developing something. I think that is the basic idea behind the innovation. So we already checked. We have the artificial intelligence and machine learning student also here, and we have two specialization. I mean, in the data science also from the second year only. Initially, we are putting them onto the common kind of thing, I mean the subjects and skill set. And then from the second year only, we are putting them with the subjects and with the frameworks onto the specialization like data science and machine learning applications like maybe drones and maybe robotics and 3D printing and all. So we are saying actually the Center of Excellence for here, and thankful to the government of Maharashtra, actually they agreed to put the funds for this particular Center of Excellence here, so that along with your student actually the facility can be used by the startups, any researchers which is whom they wanted to come and do their research here, because this Center of Excellence will actually constitute high machine also. And for setting the Center of Excellence, actually, we have been tied with the different industries, best industries, maybe drone. We had a couple of months back, actually, we had a drone conference also here. Yeah, thank you very much. And for the AI and AI domain, this AI student actually we have been connected to IIT Bombay and major industries in India, including NASCOM also. And our mentor is basically IIT Bombay. So they are basically putting, they are focusing on the curriculum and how it is being implemented. So it is good. We are taking a lot of effort into this, including the Center of Excellence also. Once it is said, actually, practically they can use the Center of Excellence facility, machine learning and the application hardware side application. In data science, we have getting a skill set, and from the second semester only, we are putting this student onto the job. The capstone project we are getting from the government of Maharashtra. And recently, I have a industry interaction team also. They are connecting to different industries and they are going to the industry. But right now, I know that the problem is there with the government of Maharashtra, different departments initially. They will solve those particular problems in a data science. So there are certain departments like agriculture, the statistical departments, and then the finance department. So we already started meeting with the secretaries and assistant secretaries of the particular department, so that we are telling them you got so much data, but there is no visualization. So from the first semester only, we started giving them the required skill set like W in Microsoft AI and all. So that is what I wanted to show. So we are going in the right direction, but we may do mistakes somewhere, and that's why you are there. And the learning actually I wanted, yes, mixed reality need to be in a place. There are many places actually wherein actually lab is not set, then we can just create the atmosphere and we can do the experimentation. What a job we want to say, the learning I mean to say. So we'll do tie-up and we'll go ahead with this concept. And whatever experimentation, whatever practices we can do using the XR facility, with your support, actually we do that. So thank you very much, OMKAR, and thank you guys, and thank you, Barbara madam, basically, and the team of innovation that they have saved this particular program in a very short duration. We have in the afternoon actually 3:50 we have another program. One of my friends actually Vivek Malhotra from Dell, he's the director of Dell, and since he was the director of also IBM also for a long period, so it's coming in the campus at 3:30, and we'll see how we can get time with and help hand from the movement. So thank you very much, OMKAR. It's a nice experience meeting you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes.